Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Bella Ralston. I'm also known as Mommy Lay. I am a hand lettering artist. I am an illustrator. I am your creative educator, and I'm also a student forever. So today we are going to play with watercolors. We're going to create a beautiful spring illustration that is going to, like what I said, require some watercolors. So it means that we're going to be using the doll, this watercolor set from Faber-Castell. I do apologize. My set is a little messy here. As you can tell, as you can see, it is very well loved. And I am actually trying to prep my watercolors now. You know, guys, it's important too, because some of them are really dry. So we're just giving it some love by dropping a little bit of water, so we can activate those pigments. Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope you're all doing well. I am super excited. It is Wednesday and we get to play. Like what I said, we'll be working with watercolors today. So we're going to need some water. I have in my bowl some clean water. I also have my watercolors. I also have a round brush. This is a number 5 round brush. Um, I think good number 4 to number 6 is a good size of round brush just because it can still hold pretty good amount of water, and then you can still go, pretty um light strokes, thin strokes, and then get a pretty thick strokes as well if you apply a little bit of pressure. And because we're gonna do a little bit of lettering, we'll be working with some composition in here. We're gonna need some pencil to sketch our work first, and then we're also going to need some eraser, which I'm trying to find some eraser over here. Where are my erasers? How's everybody doing this afternoon? I hope you're all doing well. I think I'm finally getting back into the swing of things. Believe it or not, I think it took us, wow, a good amount of days. I'm gonna say it took 2 weeks, pretty much a good 2 weeks before we were able to recover from the jet lag. I don't know, you can call it old age. I think it's old age. Hi Sarah, how are you, my dear? I hope you're doing well. I'm gonna pull up my comments in here so I don't miss any of your comments. Sarah, how you been? I hope you've been well. I'm gonna try and open up a new eraser in here if I can open it. It's giving me a hard time for some reason. Because we are going to be working with watercolors, we're going to need our mixed media paper or some watercolor paper. I'm actually using a watercolor paper from Creatology. It's a watercolor paper pad for kids. But you know what? I have been using it and it has been serving me pretty well. So there you go. I needed some, sorry about that. Can I tell you something? I'm not going to say it. Yeah, I wanted to say something, but I'm not going to say it. So this is a piece that we're going to be working with today, working on actually. So we're going to create like a lettering using some watercolors, and then we're going to be making some very cute spring kawaii doodles in here. So as you can tell, lots of colors, very bright, very fun. Very fun illustration today. Sarah, you've been busy with college classes. Oh, goodness. So it's good that you can take a little break today and create some art with me. So this is the Creatology for kids. This is for like 3 years old and up, but I promise you, if you just want like a practice watercolor paper pad, I've actually cut down some and put in my ring binder. I have like a traveler's journal that I take with me. So I make like mini booklets, like mini sketchbooks. And this has been really, really good for me. It served me really well. So, oh goodness. Hold on. Let me put it this way. All right. So when it comes to lettering, if you need a little bit of help with your lettering, some brush lettering, I do have a lot of classes here under my live video tabs. Also under the Marmalade classes, I think. So it's under a playlist somewhere here, but there's a lot of available videos for you to watch. I just recently created a doodling 101 and also a brush lettering 101. So that's a really good place to start with your brush lettering and your doodles. So today, since we're working with a round brush, it's very similar to when you're using a brush pen because brush pen is flexible, but a round brush is just even more flexible. So when we do our upstroke and our downstroke, it really does require just um, a little bit of just a little bit. What am I trying to say? My goodness, my word just left me. Little bit of pressure. So when we do an upstroke, the most important thing is the way you hold your brush, okay? So I know we have a different grips, we have this grip sometimes. I've seen people I hold my brush not too much in the middle. I think it's a little too close in the to the top. It could be the wrong way, could be the right way, who knows? But this is how I have gotten used to it. I've been very much comfortable with this. So I'm not going to teach you how to hold or grip your brush pen or your brushes. The most important thing here is, of course, to focus. The most important thing here is the way you would angle your hand. So you don't hold it upside down unless, of course, you're working on details and you need to kind of like just make small marks like this. But when we're doing any type of brush lettering, it's all about the angle. So 45-degree relatively to the paper. So when you do your upstroke, you'll be able to work and really use the tip of your brush. And then when you need to create any type of thicker stroke, then you can really flex that brush. Look at that beautiful thick strokes. Isn't that gorgeous? That's beautiful. So when you do anything like that, I'm just going to go blend it here on my palette. Because when you're holding it upside down like this, I will show you, you'll be able to use the tip. You'll be able to create like a thin stroke, but the thick stroke is not going to be as thick as you would like. So, but when you have it angled relatively 45-degree, you'll be able to really flex that brush to create that beautiful thick strokes, right? So those are just the major things to understand and to remember. Upstroke, you go light, and then downstroke is when you go slightly heavier because depending on how flexible your brush is, and also depending on how heavy your pressure is. I know I can really do some heavy pressure. So I um, try to go relax on my pressure because I really have heavy pressure. So I try to just kind of like relax. Hey, Laquita, my friend, how are you? How have you been? My goodness, happy Wednesday. As you can tell, my voice is here, but it isn't here yet. Gosh, when is it going to be 100%? I really hope so, because I miss singing, you guys, and I can't sing when my voice is like this. So I really miss singing and I miss yelling at my kids. Just kidding. My husband too. But I don't have a voice yet. Okay. So today we are going to work on some composition. And when I was getting started with lettering, I think this is one of the most things that I'm so dreadful about composition because I always find myself s- struggling with composition, especially if I'm writing like a long quote. And so today I'm going to share with you a few tips and tricks that I have on my sleeve because this is what we do here. We share some fun information and some tips, because we're all creatives and we're all friends here. So I'll share with you a few tips. Now, the first thing is to understand what you're writing, right? So if you're writing 3 words or 2 words, then that's easy. You have 2 lines. But for today, we're going to letter the words or the quote, "You are allowed to take up space just as you are." So as you can tell, that's a lot of words, right? So I'm just going to write it down here. You are allowed to take up space just as you are. The first step, my first step, at least mine, is I always write down the quote. I want to visually see it. And then, second, what I do is I want to choose my focal point, right? So, what are the words that I really want to highlight? So, you are allowed to take up, I think, space. I really want to highlight this word. And then you, just as you are, maybe the words you are. All right. So right now I have it in one, two, three, four, five, six. That's 6 lines right now. And that's going to take up my whole space. I'm using like a 9 by 12, I think, a paper pad, 9 by 12. And if I'm going to write it down just like this, it's going to take up a whole lot of space. So what we want to do is we want to break it down into kind of like, how do we want to write it in our page? Do we want to write it just as the words? But today, like what I said, we're going to create a little bit of illustrations, some spring illustrations, kind of like blooming spring, right? So this quote reminds me of spring because it's kind of like blooming and growing and learning and all that. So I want to create like flowers. I want to create a snail because a snail to me is symbolizes, it's slow, but it's slow and steady, and it's okay sometimes, to grow at our own pace like that. And so if my pace is just as slow as a snail, it's okay. You're okay. So I think this quote is really nice to see in your sketchbook or in your journals. I think it's really nice to have that. So the way I did my composition, I wanted to have an arch on top just to kind of like set everything up. So what I'm going to do is, this is really helpful. So I want to do the "you are allowed" on top, but I'm going to do a miniature so you can see. I want to create an arch. Remember when you were doing any type of sketching, you want to go light, but because it might be difficult for the camera to pick up, so I'm trying to really make it dark so you can see. But if you're going to do this in your sketchbook, just go light so it's easy to erase it later on. So what I want is the words "you are allowed." So 3 words. I want to put it here. I'm going to write it first in script just so I can see, in print, just so I can really see the spacing first. I'm not going to get worried about um, writing it in brush lettering or any script form. I just want to have all my words in the composition. So you are allowed to take up space. Remember, I highlighted the word space because this is one of the words that I really want to highlight. So I know in my head I want to make that big. So we can put here underneath the words "you are allowed to take up." So we can do so 3 words again here, right? And then highlight the word space. So I'm just going to write it again. I'm just going to write it in print just so we can see the placement of our words, right? And then the words "you are," I highlighted because I really want to focus on that too. So I want to make it big also. So I'm going to put it just "you are," right? Hi, Angie. Okay, so we have space. So we're missing "just as." Now we can do, I like to use shapes as kind of like my highlighter. So you can use shapes like an oval. You can use shapes like a heart. You can use shapes just like a rectangle, or you can make it into a ribbon. So you can just do a rectangle like that. You can put 2 things on both sides. You put a triangle on the end, just like that. So I think for this one, we can use a stretched oval for the words just as, and then probably use a highlighter also for the words to take up. So maybe we can put this like in a ribbon form. Since it's already arched, we're going to make a ribbon arched as well. So we're closing up that space, just 2 arches, and then 2 horizontal, smaller horizontal lines. It goes a little bit here inside your space, like that. And then again, a letter V or a triangle on the end of your ribbon. And then 2 verticals, connect that to there, right? And then diagonal lines to close it in. Remember, we're still working on our composition. That's why I went live a little bit early, because I know we're going to work on this one. And I really want to share with you my steps, how I compose my letters. So now I think I'm good with the spacing. I think I'm good with not spacing. I'm good with the placement of our words. So we have you are allowed to take up space just as you are. And of course, the spacing is not there yet, but at least we have the placement of each words, right? So now I want to do it again. I'm going to go do it on this side, on the right side. So we're going to start with our arch, right? Okay. So I'm going to start with you are allowed. I can actually make this one just print also, just so maybe we can highlight the word space or make everything into a script and make the word space and you are as a print, so it can be really highlighted so it will stand out. So let's try that. So just write it in script. You are, and then you can tilt your paper. This is not stationary here. You can move it around. You are allowed. There you go. Now to take up, I'm going to do my ribbon first. So I'm going to do again 2 arches, right? Right. Let's start with the 2 arches. And we're going to go close it in with 2 verticals. Then we go draw 2 horizontal. It's like slightly curving. Follow the shape like that, right? Now you can close it, attach it to that, like that. Now we'll draw our triangle or a letter V in there, right? And then we connect this one from this end to that end, connect it, diagonal line, just like that. You can shade it in if you want to. So this one will say to take up. Again, I'm going to write it in script. To take up. Now the word space. So this time, I want to really make this one big. And in print, right? Then I'm going to make the just as not so big. I think this one I'm going to make it print also. I'm changing my mind as I'm doing this, if you can't tell. So just as, and then maybe, since we can see it here, since this is print, I'm going to make this one script, okay? Just so I can see. I think I'm already liking this. How about if we make the you slightly bigger and put the word just as you are? I don't know. I like this one. What do you guys think? But see how we composed this one? We started from the print over here, chose our highlighted words, and then started working on our composition, and then we end up like this. Remember this arch later, we're going to erase that so you won't be able to see that. But we're going to keep the ribbon. We're going to keep the highlighted shape oval, overstretched oval there. And I like that this one is big, the word space. I like this. I like it. Okay, so we're going to translate it here on our paper. I'm going to move it right in front of me so I can see it. Okay, now this one is big, but I don't want to take up the whole space because remember, I want to put in some illustrations. And in my sample illustration, I actually have like a sun on top, but I don't want to worry about that right now. I want to worry about our composition. That is my main goal. Those are just supporting actors, right? So all of our illustrations are just supporting actors. And so our main thing is our lettering, right? So thank you. So we'll start with that. And I'm going to do my arch now. Again, I'm going to leave imaginary border on all four sides and all four sides, top, bottom, left, and right. So I'm not going to fill in so much space, but I'm going to do my arches now. I'm going to do this one slightly lighter, you guys, because this is one is my, I'm going to put this one here so you can see it. How's that? Can you see it? I'm going to put this one here. So just in case you need an example, because this one I'm going to try to make this slightly lighter. And I think I have a good equal space on my left and my right. So I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to write the words because remember, we're going to have, like, especially with the letter Y, we have this little thing that's hanging. So we have that tail of the letter Y. So I want to make sure, because it's the first letter, I don't think I have to worry so much about my ribbon, but just in case, I'm just going to lightly just write it, just so when I place my ribbon, it's going to be okay. So, and I think I'm stretching it way too much. So, I already made a mistake. Look at this. Fabulous. But also the reason why I wanted to have like some spaces in between, because remember, we're going to use some watercolors later on to letter this. So I really want to just kind of like have some spaces in between because I know I'm going to have some thicker strokes and I want to make sure that I'll have enough space in between each letters. So we have the word U, do the word R, and then I'm going to tilt it just a little bit. I'm writing it just ever so lightly. Just filling up all that space. And I think that's good. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're not, is it engineers or architects that have to be like so calculated? Nah, this is art. So you're free, just chillax. Okay, so now I'm going to do my ribbon. I'm going to have a little bit of distance from the top. I'm not going to make this so big. I think it's right in the middle. Sometimes I have trouble finding my middle, but it's okay. So we're going to draw two curving lines. There you go. Right? Then we're going to close it. And notice how my lines are. It's not just straight. I'm kind of like slightly curving it, right? Slightly curving. And we're going to draw two lines again. Let's see. Perfect, Sarah. What did you write? Okay, so we're going to write this one here. Write this one. See, it's your fault. I said right. I'm going to draw that one over there. Okay, and then we're going to connect two lines over there. And we'll start with our letter V. So it's like connecting the dots, right? And then from here, from this end to the side. Another same thing that goes over there. All right, I think we're good. I think it's slanted. I'm okay with that. Am I okay with that? I'm okay with that. All right. So you are allowed, I'm going to write to take up. There you go. Now we're going to write the word space to take up. I'm going to write it big. Spring adds new life. I love that. I love that very much. Okay, letter P. Okay, letter A. So even if it's in print, it's not really script, but I'm making my letters kind of like curly. That's what you call it. Like the ends are like, it has flourishes, right? So it goes curves, it curls a little bit on the ends, right there. So A, like that. And then I'm going to tilt it again just a little bit. So my C will cover the space. Just like that. All right. And then a letter E, like this. Again, I'm going to curl it just like that. And even the crossbars, I'm going to go give it some curves, right? Just to have some visual interest in there. Right, and I think I'm going to make the bottom of my S just slightly wider, so I'll cover up the space in here. Space, space. Right, I think I'm good with that. Right, you are allowed to take up space. And then we're going to draw our little oval. Not little, actually it's really stretched oval. We're going to write it just as. I want to make sure that it's two words. Sometimes I have that issue and that problem where I draw two words so close to one another, it can sometimes read as one word, just as. So just be mindful of that one. All right, that's good. So just as, and then I'm going to write UR in print, not print, script. My goodness. I'm going to make the loop super big for the Y. Just like this. And then O, just have a loop inside. And then stretch that to connect to the letter U. Let's see if I'm going to have space. This is what I'm talking about. Look, I don't have space because I made it too big. Right? I always have that problem. And this is the reason why I sketch, you guys. Because if I'm going to letter this with like a brush pen right away or like the watercolor right away, that's it. I will not have space in there. Yeah. So, sketch. Always sketch. Okay, I'm going to make it just slightly smaller. Okay, you. Oh, I'm going to have a problem later on with that O and U. There's not enough space in there. I'm just going to have to be gentle with my pressure. I'm going to make a loop here for my letter R. Loop it. And then I think this is good. Might be too much space in between the E and the R. So I'm just going to adjust it just a slight bit. We're good. I like it. I like it. All right. So now I'm going to go clean up. I'm gonna erase this line, remember? We're not gonna keep it there. Just like that. And I'm not gonna worry so much about I'm not gonna worry so much about the lines because I'm gonna use like a black watercolor anyways, but I'm still going to look a brand new kneaded eraser. Stinky, but still so satisfying. That was so satisfying. So I'm just gonna roll it. Oh, excuse me. Right, I'm just gonna roll that. Okay, now my problem is I made it too big. I knew I was gonna make it big also when I was first getting started. I'm like, this is too big. You're not gonna have enough space for all your illustration. But you know what? We're gonna make it work, you know? So this time we're gonna fill it with our lots of tiny illustrations in here, and we're going to make it work. I'm gonna put in my kneaded eraser there. That's the reason why it gets so hard sometimes, because I always lose this plastic thingy. I always do. So this time we're there. Okay, now for our tiny illustrations, for spring illustrations, we're just gonna make it, very simple. We're going to make a butterfly in here. Butterfly to me, it represents, change, what they go through. Can you imagine being a butterfly and you have no idea what you're going through? What is happening to me? I'm in this cocoon and then I come out and then I look like this. I don't look that pleasant. And you turn out to be this beautiful butterfly, this beautiful wings. Can't imagine. So I think that's like us too. With age comes wisdom. I like to think that. So really spring is such a like fall, fall is a good reminder for us also that change is good. And then spring comes, you go through season. So that's life, right? So I'm gonna make like tiny butterflies in here. I think I'm gonna lose my mushroom and my snail. Oh, I don't like it. But it's okay. So we're gonna go. Am I still alive? Did something happen? No, I'm good. Okay, good. I wonder what happened. All right, so now we're going to go draw a little bit of butterfly. Remember this stretched oval that we created there? That's all I'm going to do for the butterfly body. Just like that, a smaller one. And then we're going to draw two half circle, one slightly bigger, and then one slightly smaller than the other. Just like that. All right, that's a butterfly. Then we're going to draw the same thing here. That stretched oval. One is a slightly pointier or skinnier than the other side. So this right side is slightly bigger because it's like facing the other way. So we're going to draw a half circle again. This one would be slightly bigger. The other one would be slightly smaller. Just like that. All good, all good. Thank you, thank you. I got like an error of recording error in my computer, so I don't know what happened. Okay, so that's that. That's another butterfly. But I think I'm gonna like this one better because it's not gonna be super crazy busy. That I did was a little too crazy busy, but we're all good. And then I'm just gonna make like maybe like tiny 5 petal flowers. So I'm gonna start with a circle. So maybe 4 petal flower, maybe 5. Just that's that. So just half circles, a circle, and then for the petals are just like letter C, C strokes, or half circles, just like that. Make one here, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna make a smaller one here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? And then we're gonna fill it up later on with some leaves, but this is the most important thing here. We can make another, you want to make this sun on top? We can. I think we have enough space on top. So we can draw like an arch or half circle. just like that. I think that's a good half circle. And I'm going to start with just a slant line, and then you want to do a letter U, right? A letter U, and then you connect again with another letter U, and another letter U, until you can go around your sun. Isn't that crazy when it's just, when you say it in simple shapes and simple strokes like that, it's so much easier instead of trying to make it so complicated. Just draw a bunch of letter U's and then tilt your paper so it's easier to follow the shape of your sun. And then just another letter U. And after that, you connect it right to the side, just like that. There you go. I'm going to make it with a kawaii face because, you know, I love that. And then you can make like small clouds. So again, just a bunch of half circles or little C strokes. Letter C, another letter C, an upside down U if you're on top, but it's just the same. Yep, I like that. All good. Ha ha ha. Okay, I don't know what's happened, but I think I stopped recording. Uh-oh. Okay, so here we go. Since I've prepped my watercolor, right, I want to work on this illustration from top to bottom. I'm going to go erase a little bit of my sun rays because it's slightly thicker than or darker than what I would like, because we're going to use yellow in here. So the sketch marks are going to be really visible. So I know I'm going to use light colors in there. So I know it's going to be really visible. And once we have the watercolors, it'll be really difficult to erase that. So just be mindful of that. My flowers, I'm going to use magenta color in there. So I think we're okay with that. It's just the sun that I'm afraid the sketch marks will show up. Okay, so like what I said, I want to work on this illustration from top to bottom. And so I want to start with my sun. So I'm going to start with a light yellow or light orange if you have a light orange. I'm just going to create my blend over here. Have a little bit more water. Remember, you can start with some light washes, you know, so I'm not going to try and be careful. I'm just going to fill up the space. So I'm just going to start coloring. And remember, with watercolors, that beautiful variation of like the gradients from light to some parts are slightly darker. I think that's what makes it really appealing, you know. But if you want like an equal amount of color across your illustration, I'd go for the gouache because they're really graphic looking, because they're so vibrant. They don't have this beautiful wash of color that watercolors have. Beautiful, kind of like having like some parts of the pigment show up more depending on where you've laid it down and applied it. Okay, I'm just going to do a little bit of water and blend up parts of that would be close to our letters. Yeah, so give it a little bit of blend. Right now I'm going to do some blue, sky blue. Do my blends here on the side. And some water. Go over here. I'm gonna move around some of the pigments. Some are like really stuck just in the middle. So while that is still really wet, I'm gonna grab a little bit of like this blue violet. Maybe have it here on the side. Or it's just a darker blue. Ooh, I didn't activate that one. So, yes, Angie, it's watercolors. And so I'm just gonna drop in like darker at the bottom. And then I'll just add a little bit of water. So I just added like a darker shade of blue in there. All right, and then I'll go in with my light again. I think I should have it like this so you guys can see. There you go. That's better. Watercolors are so fun. I feel like it's the most forgiving at the same time. It's the most frightening also when you're like trying to be so serious about your work because I find myself always having a hard time recreating the same look because watercolors are so, I don't know, so just inconsistently beautiful. I don't have other words for it. But you can come close, but sometimes it just depends on the paper you're using, just depends on how much water you've used that day or how much pigments you've actually used. So I guess the experts can, but me, I always have a hard time. Right. So that's my light blue, and I'm gonna grab some of that darker blue again. I'm just gonna drop in some of that slightly darker blue at the bottom. I like that. Okay, clean my brush. All right, so we're gonna color our ribbon green, light green. Let's start with light green color. I'm gonna create my palette right over there. And I'm just gonna go directly and just dip so I can be slightly careful. Doesn't have to be super perfect. I'm gonna go dip that and I'm gonna add slightly darker green to my already existing blend over there. So I'm just adding slight darker. And I'm gonna go over here. Right. Whatever pigments I have left in my brush, just going to go. Remember, we can also always use like colored pencils later on to bring more texture, to add some contrast. And I think some people call it cheating. Nah, I call that having lots of fun. What do you mean cheating? That's silly, right? And I love that with watercolors, you don't really have to be so perfect. And I think the more loose it is, that's where the fun is. I don't know, call me crazy, but I think so. I like that. All right. know what? I really should have like thing where it would elevate and lift my artwork a little bit because this one's better than this one because of the glare of the light. See? Crazy. I'm just gonna hold it for you guys because I love you. Okay, so we're gonna choose two different colors for our flowers. I think I want the magenta color. This one. So I'm gonna create my blend. Da da da. All right. Add some water. Maybe pink and purple. I'll start with the magenta, the pink one. Okay. And I'm going to deliberately leave the circle part not colored. So I'm just going to go start with my circle like this. So I know which part to leave out. And I'm just going to do my C strokes. Kind of like drawing it. Right? And then just color it in. That's the one thing that I mean, I love the internet. I love that we can connect and I love all that. There's also a lot of opinions online. So I want you to really learn how to filter those opinions, because especially if you're online a whole lot and your life is shared online, your work is shared online, you're like just opening yourself up to be like a target. And sometimes it's okay, but there are days where you're just like, darn it, just be nice. So just be careful, protect your heart. Because I mean, every time I would do something, like maybe a technique that's not supposed to be the right technique, um, and then people will always have something to say. And I'm like, it's been working out for me, and I happen to love it. So, you know what? Just keep doing you, okay? And you find something, a more comfortable way of doing things, do it. Because it's for you, it's not for them. Darn it. Okay. Now I'm gonna get like I said I wanted purple, but I think I want orange. So I'm gonna go in with this orange one. Like a tangerine. I wish I have the names of the colors in here, but I didn't make a swatch. Okay. So we're just gonna do this. I'm gonna go do this first because this one is still wet and I might ruin it by going up there. Right, this is where I think I made my flowers a little too tiny, so it's really hard to color in like a small area. Wish I have like a smaller brush, but we're just gonna be careful. Okay, I think I'm just gonna make this solid orange. I'm not gonna do any type of blending or anything like that. Just gonna keep it that way. I chose the wrong color. It's that one. Okay, there we go. Ooh, I can really see the pencil mark in that one. I don't think I have erased this one very well. It's okay though. It is not the end of the world. It's gonna be okay. Right. All right. I like it. I like it. I like it. So far, I really, really like it. Okay. Nice. Okay. For our, oh, I gotta go clean my palette because I need to do a light brown in here. So I'm just gonna go clean this up because I don't have any more space. Thank you very much. I'm gonna do this like, I think this is like a yellow. No, I think this is more like yellow ochre color. Yeah, I'm okay with that for my butterfly. Clean water. Okay, start with this one. And again, I have fallen in love with, using pencils with my watercolors. I love bringing back details with the use of my colored pencils on top. I just really love that look. And I'm gonna use the same color and color this one. Yikes. That. Okay, what should our butterfly color with the wings? Wings. Maybe blue? I don't know. Blue sounding good, but I need to dry that first. So while that's drying, I'm gonna make some more green blends because now we're gonna fill in our page with tiny leaves, right? Excuse me. Oh, I gotta go. Hold on. Where's the mute? I gotta go mute myself. I gotta go. I can't find the mute. I don't want to cough on you guys. I'm gonna go. Hold on, mute. Excuse me so much. Geesh, golly, geesh. Okay. Right. So let's do our leaves. I'm gonna go here. So I'm just doing like curved lines. 2, 1, little 2, little 3. I'll do on this side. Okay, maybe a smaller round brush will be better. Mine's pretty big. Mine's number 5. So I just have to be really mindful. This one's still slightly wet. Yep, that's it. That did it. Oop. And always just jinx myself. Jinx myself. Of course, I've noticed it wet, and what do? I made the 2 colors meet. But having like a large round brush is also nice because you don't have to keep loading it with water because it keeps its moisture. Darn it. Look at that. We're okay, guys. We're gonna live. It's okay. Make one here too. Okay, and then now, since I have lots of green, I'm just gonna go add in more greens. But I think I'm gonna have like a small vine over here. It's not really small, but just like that. So use the tip of the brush, give it a good flex to create like a thick line like this. Tip, flex, bend, and then lift to create that tapered stroke in the end, just like that. Let's do it again. So tip, flex, and then slowly lift up, right? To create that tip. Tip, bend, lift, just like that. I think drawing, painting leaves is a really good practice of, playing with your pressure when you're working with a round brush, because you can really get like a good practice from light to heavy. I think I remember just kind of like drawing leaves and leaves and leaves and leaves and leaves in one page, just a lot of leaves, just so I can practice that flex, the pressure from the light to heavy, light to heavy, light to heavy. So that was this really a good practice. Okay, and I think I'm good with that. We can just add a little bit more later if we want to. All right. And now this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have to just dry it just a little bit so I don't keep you for a long time. So it just depends on how much water I use and how much pressure I've used when laying down the colors and the pigments. That's where it depends on how long my drying time is and also how big the illustration is. This one is so tiny, but some are like loaded with lots of pigment. Like this one, I think it's gonna be okay. Okay, I think I'm gonna do light blue for my butterfly wings. Lighter than the clouds. Ooh. Clean this up and do my blends in here. Okay, forgot it. I was gonna go start doing my letters, and then I forgot we have our butterfly wings. I think for the butterfly wings, it'd be really nice to have like if you have like an acrylic paint, you can use like the white shaken paint, or if you have, you can use black. I mean, by any means. Or you can wait for it to dry and just use pencils or use markers. I love mixed media. I love mixing media. I know I've said it, but I really do. I think it just builds layers and like visual interest in your work instead of just kind of like seeing all watercolor, which is there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I love that. But there's something about when you have like different media in your illustration and your work. So I'm gonna have to dry it. The effects are different when you dry your watercolor. So I'm always careful with that. But when we do our live, time is so limited. Usually if I'm working on illustration like this and I use watercolor, I let it sit there for just a little bit and I start working on other things. I start working on in my sketchbook, or I do a little bit of admin work if I'm doing something. Um, and when I'm filming also, I tend not to dry it with a heat tool just because the results are different. The way the water would like settle onto the paper, it just gives out different result. So I try not to do this, but since we have limited time, I have no choice. I have to dry it with a heat tool. I've pretty much loaded it with lots of pigments also, but it's all good as long as I don't mess it up. Okay, so this one will be the slightly scary part. is the brush lettering. Take your time. Do you hear that? Take your time, because this is going to be such a big thing. And I do not have any space for my black. I'll just, meow. Just gonna do it here. Here. I'm going to create a blend where it's not going to be so runny, but it's not going to be thick also. It's a pretty good balance of pigment and a little bit of water, because having it slightly watery will make it so much easier to glide onto the paper, especially when it comes to lettering. We're not coloring, we're going to go letter. So we want this to be on a slightly runnier side. Not so much though, just a little bit. Okay, I think this is good. All right. Okay, I can do this. Move it close to me. Oh, take our time. I'm reminding myself, guys. You can just use a brush pen for this one also. If I'm smart, I would just use my brush pen. But I really like that watercolor look, so I'm just going to close my mouth now, and I'm just going to keep doing this. All right. Because I want a little bit more control over my brush, I'm holding it a little too close to the tip. Okay, that's it. I'm stopping. I'm going to go start lettering now. Remember, slightly heavy going down, and then light going up, okay? All right, this is it. Okay. You know how many slightly nervous, because you know how many times I ruin a piece because I wasn't taking my time. Okay, so I'm gonna take my time. Slightly heavy. Okay. And you don't have to do the full sweep of stroke, right? So just, if you have, as long as, because you have your sketch already, you can see where the strokes are. You can just kind of like connect it like that. So you don't have to really do it like how I would normally letter with a brush pen. This one really, I'm gonna take my time. See, I already know my letter Y and letter O are too close to each other, so I'm gonna go pivot. Darn it, pivot. There's nothing wrong with pivot. Martha Stewart said she doesn't like the word pivot. Well, sorry, Martha. My life is full of pivoting. She said she doesn't like the word pivot because you just got to do it right the first time. Well, darn it, Martha. Things doesn't always work as well as I would like the first time. So, we're just going to do, oh, see, now you understand why I'm like talking about spaces in between each letter. Man, those curved lines, like those little tiny half circles, those are gonna get ya. Trying not to breathe in between each letter. Hey, yeah, definitely pivoting here. There's a lot of pivoting happening. My letters are not where it once was. Guys, I have a good core. Because I'm like holding my breath in while doing this. This is like a workout. This is like the ab workout because I'm trying to go really gentle. Okay, like that. And the curves are deadly. Why? Okay, I think because there's not enough water. I don't know. Just gonna add a little bit more water and a little bit more pigment. All right, I cannot see it. Where is it? To take up. Oh man, I think I'm gonna use like a brush pen here. This is gonna be hard. I think I should use like a smaller brush in that one. Yeah, I'm gonna grab like a smaller brush, guys, because mine is too big. I'm gonna grab like a smaller brush. Yeah, you know what? Good. Look at the difference of that brush. Yeah. So if you have like a smaller brush, go grab that because it's gonna make our life so much easier. So I'm gonna go in for the word space. No, I'm gonna go do the, I'm a little all over the place, but we're gonna do the to take up. All right, I'm gonna go do the to take up. To take up in my smaller brush. Oh, this is gonna be so much better. Oh yes. Guys, go use a smaller brush. Okay? Because it's gonna be easier. I mean, not a whole lot, but those rounded things are still a pain, but so much better. Especially this one is like so small. There. Now I can do my eyes for my son. Ooh, I'm trying to be careful. I already got it on my finger. Like that. Since I have you here, I'm gonna do my butterfly antenna and do smaller one. I mean, you can use like a fine tip pen for that one, but I'm okay. Got it. Right now, back to the word space we go. Those curves on top, it's hard. Okay, so let's take our time. Why? Okay, we're just gonna do cheat a little bit. It's okay to cheat. That's like a workout for my core. Trying to do like a one long sweep. Okay. Clean up some of my lines, I suppose. Okay, that's good, I think. I think it's good. All right. Do one full sweep again. I feel like that one is so much thicker than this one. It's okay, it's okay. We're gonna go do it again. Go do one more. Okay, then use the tip of the brush for the little curly things. I should have just made this like print, like simple letter P without the flourishing. But nope, was looking for, give myself a hard time. This is what we get. Alrighty then. Okay. Ah, la, la, la. I knew I was gonna mess up in the end. I could feel it the way the brush was dragging. All right. I'm not going to overthink it anymore. Okay, Lay, let's just go do. Oops. I'm like, well, it looks better, actually. See? Pivot. Actually looks better when it's like slightly curved like that. Looks like I did it intentionally. But I sure as heck didn't. But we're good. No one's gonna know. No one's gonna know. No one's gonna know. Hey. See, it actually, happy accident. That is so much better when it was slanted. Man, the universe knows better than me. All right, thank you so much, universe, for that. Okay. Stitch, and then lift. There we go. Whew. Mm. I'm gonna go make this one slightly thicker. And all right, we're almost done. Ah, we didn't color the oval, guys. All right. I I didn't color the oval. Ay ay ay. When I try not to be overly careful, then I lose my concentration, and then my strokes are like all over the place. But it's okay. I'm gonna color in the just ass. I'm gonna color in light blue, like what we did with our butterflies. Just that oval right there. So while it's drying, we can work on the words. You are so beautiful. All right. So, what was your favorite part about today's project? I like that. Okay, I'm just going to clean my brush. I'm going to let that dry. Did you like the composition? Did you like the sketching part? I always love the planning of the composition. I feel like that's always a challenging, but it's always so satisfying when you've like planned out all the letters, all the words, where it goes, you know, and the whole illustration would kind of like rely on that because then you can start thinking about like little tiny things that we had in here, like our butterflies, like our leaves and all that. I feel like it's so crucial to have a good, like a good composition. Ooh. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the layout for sure. I think so too. The flowers. We have lots of flower projects going on very soon because it's spring, so watch out for that. I apologize for being so slow in uploading our classes, but you can trust that it'll be up on Monday again or Sunday, maybe even to have the live class so you can prepare your materials of what we're going to do. It's just that life's been a little crazy lately. And, I'm trying. I'm trying my best. That's all I can say. All right. Trying my best. Yes, Jessica, it's just it makes me happy. It makes me happy. I know a lot of people love the neutral and the muted. I'm just bright and bold. I'm sorry. I just love the bright and bold and all the colors and like give it all to me. I know some of my friends are like really nice at like putting together a color palette that's like so unique. That's not even the colors of the butterfly, but they use this kind of like unique color palette. And I'm just like, no, just Give me the rainbow colors. I love all the bright. There's something about the bright that makes me so happy. Thank you so much, friend. Thank you. I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying not to overthink this one also because then look at us moving around. I think if I can do this again, I'd probably letter it with like the Pit Artist pen and brush. So then we can use watercolor on top of that and it's not going to move because that's the beauty of the Pit Artist pens, remember? Once they're dry, they're like water resistant. So we're good to go. Okay, I'm going to switch brush because remember, it's still slightly damp. So I'm just going to go over it real quick because I don't want it to bleed all over the place. Just do that. I'm going to go over here, grab some black. Okay, be careful because some of this are still wet. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, that's tough. And I don't want to just use like all of a sudden use a marker because it's going to look so different. So I want us to be cohesive and have all watercolors for the lettering. Ooh, those S curves. Just as I'm going to add 3 lines in there just to kind of highlight that even more. I like it. I like it so much. All right, where's my white shaker? This one. Because we can add like dots and highlights for our butterfly. We can add like polka dots. I love the shaken paints because they are acrylic paint and they're so opaque. Look at that. You can really see that one. I'm just adding polka dots. All right, you guys. I think I'm going to add a little bit of polka dots in my sun also. Just to give it like a good highlight in there. And then my clouds too. Just to add in a good highlights in there. I think I might want to add like a little tiny dots black in the middle of my flowers. I know I wanted to leave it white earlier, but changing my mind. So I'm using the Pit Artist pen in 1.5. It's going to make life so much easier. Look at this. So I'm just adding like mini tiny dots in the middle of the flowers. Just like that for added textures. Love that. Now feel free to use like pencils to add in details to your flowers, like add lines in the middle of, for your flower petals if you would like, or you can use watercolor when it's dry. But using watercolors on top of this illustration always scares me because then remember, it's going to lift it, right? It's going to lift that. So I'm always so careful with that one. I'm just going to use a little bit of gold Faber pencil and I'm just going to add in tiny details like that. See? Just like that. And then I'm going to add in orange. It's a little bit of lime. Ay, not that. I'm going to use a deep magenta. And then just green, darker green row. my leaves. There. All right. Now you can add in some drop shadow for your lettering if you would like, but it's kind of still wet. But what I mean by that is you can have like a light blue color using your gold Faber or like this, or if you have like a pit artist pen in light blue, use that. I'm just going to use this light blue here. This is from um, the Gold Faber Aqua Dual marker. So I'm going to use the water blue. I'm just going to add in some drop shadow, especially for the word space, because I really want to highlight this word. I'm going to erase a little bit of my sketch. Thank you, universe, for making me make a mistake, and my A is now slanted and perfect. So I'm going to choose, I know the sun is over there, so supposedly our drop shadow would be just at the bottom part of our letters, but I don't like it. So I'm going to pretend that the sun is not there, and that is not my light source. So I'm going to choose the right side of each letter. So what I mean by that is, for example, this stroke right here of the letter S, still wet. Nope, it's dry. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to add in a little bit of that, right? You can't even see it very well because it's so light, this blue. So this right side, go right here, go right here, go right there. Can you see? Can't even see, because it's really, really light. It just adds a little bit of nice drop shadow effect in here. Just try not to go so close, because remember, this is water soluble also, and that's watercolor, so it's going to activate it and it's going to blend together. So I'm just trying to be careful, not too careful, just being mindful. Over here on this right side. Oop, it's already, see, I'm picking up some of that black. All right. I love this. I love what we've created today. I hope you enjoyed the class also. You know me with my embellishments. I always like to add like little tiny stars around my illustration, my lettering like this. I know it doesn't make sense to have the star and to have the sun and you know what? With art, nothing have to make sense. It's just how you feel, what you feel at the moment, what you want. You're the artist, it's your creation, it's your art. Let nobody tell you what to do and what not to do, as long as you're creating and you're having so much fun, because that is the joy of all that. That is the purpose of everything, is to find joy in what you're doing and to in creating. And so I thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you had a great time. I had a wonderful time from the beginning till the very end. I hope that it was insightful. If you enjoy videos like this, there's more videos here on my channel. Make sure to check it out. If you're watching this on a replay, make sure to join us. I go live every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Central Time. My name is Leigh Bella Ralston. I'm also known as Mommy Leigh on the internet. You can find me all over. If you love to create and you would love to find a good community, consider supporting me on Patreon. It's on my websites, IamMommyLeigh.com. I thank you all so much. Have a great evening. Have a beautiful day if you're watching this on a replay. I appreciate you. I will see you again next week. Remember, you are allowed to take space just as you are. Thank you, everybody.